Alrighty, web devs. Well, we're going to pick up where we left off, which is with our contact form. And all I've done with mine since last time is I've gone through and I've done the same thing for my name input with my email and my message. And that was just taking this if is set error message for that and spitting out a class called required, so that now when I submit my form, it shows up as empty for all of them and shows up as red, which is enough styling for us. I mean, we're web developers. We don't really know what design is anyway, so we'll just leave it at that. Now, taking it to the next level, if we input a name, we click it, notice that the email and message are required, and that name does not show up. Now it's saved in memory. So what we could actually do is do another if condition and say, if it's been submitted, go ahead and print out that name as the value of the form. So if we come back into our code here, let's pick up right after this if statement, and we're going to put another if statement. We're going to say PHP if, then is set name. So if is set name, we'll say if they have submitted the name field and we have a value for name, go ahead and spit that out. So let's try that. So we got our start of our if, and the HTML we'll use is going to be value, and then we're just going to print out the variable name and close that up. So make sure that we've got opening PHP, okay, we've got our value, the value we spit out, and then we close that, and then we close up our PHP block. Say end if, like that. So let's go ahead and run that and see how that behaves in the browser. Click it, what we would expect, put in the name, click it again, and it stays up. Let's try that one more time. Enter it, no name, name, there we go. What happens if we just put in a space bar? See, now this is a problem because if you just have spaces in there, we don't actually want those to trigger it as having some value. So what we could do is there's a PHP function called trim, and we could actually just tack this on right there. And what that should do is trim out any of the white spaces that we have. So if we have a white space and we click it, notice that it's still like that. So we could go ahead, and this is pretty common, to go ahead and add trim before and after all of our different little input fields here. There we go. So say click, what's your name? Got it. If we put spaces in as the name, should trim those out and show up as blank. So that's looking much better, and we'll just go ahead and copy this code for the rest of our form. So go ahead and take care of that, and then that's where we'll end up with this first video for today. And we'll pick back up tomorrow and actually start sending out the email itself, because our form should be pretty set. So go ahead and say if is set for the other ones. So copy that. Email. Print out email. So back. Gordon. Click it. Good. Now we come to this message field, and this message field is a little tricky because what's happening here is that we actually want the value to go inside like that. Because the way text area fields work is that if you just type some characters, it will show up inside of that, right? Because there's an opening tag and a closing. So we could put our PHP oh, that's true. Good point. So we actually need a very simplified version of our PHP, and we only need to say not value. Start not value equals, but we just say print. So we could say, simplify this up a bit. We could say if message. If is set message, print the message, and we could just end our code block there. Because if our if statement is just one line, we can go ahead and write it as such, and that should work. There we go. So when we have all of this filled out, should be able to submit it, and there we have all of our content. Now notice that there's no indication that the form has been filled out correctly, and we still have all of our stuff in there, even though technically the form has been submitted. So the next thing we'll do is we'll make sure that when we go back, that when you submit the form, it sends out the email, sends a message, and clears these fields out. So that's what we'll take care of next. All right, go ahead and get your code caught up, and we'll do the rest tomorrow.